name is John Serrapere. It's like say a prayer.
Say a prayer?
Yeah, my mom used to say prayers a lot. I had a twin. They almost put me back. We had semi-private wombs.
Oh, man. I don't know how you got out of it.
I don't know either. Hey, what happened to that pizza we ordered? The Roth's
It's on the
special.
floor.
It was a 3-inch pizza with nothing on it.
Yeah.
About that big, like yesterday's game.
Moncrief dropped it.
Yeah, he did. That's what he did. Moncrief's working here. I think he's going to be his new full-time
Yes,
job.
he got it.
Yeah.
Tell him what
he
you're...
He would be a delivery boy, but he
You're
couldn't do that
too
either.
funny, but tell him what you're executive director of.
We 21. And there it is. We 21. We got hats. We got shirts. We got a store. We play RBI baseball. But what it is, our mission statement is to adopt Roberto Clemente Walker's personal attributes by witnessing and emulating the values practices that led him to the heights of self-actualization. And when you break that down, you get the program. But just think about it. His personal attributes were great. He was disciplined. He was a great man who just happened to play baseball. He climbed that ladder of self-actualization, and his last act was the greatest act of self-actualization. He gave his life for others. So what we do is we take Roberto Clemente's life and we're animating it with art, with quotes from books, testimony from ball players. We're online. We're in the classroom, on the field with baseball teams.
Where do you have your events at?
Well,
or have you had them?
I'll go backwards to some things we just did recently.
Because I want people to know about this.
I was asked to present to the Pittsburgh Urban Classic with a program called The Base. It's in 5 cities, New York, Chicago, Indianapolis, Pittsburgh, Miami, and soon to be in Los Angeles. And I was asked to present our program to 150 youths. We gave, we had a tournament down there in Washington, PA, at Washington Jefferson Stadium. And you know, I started with the baseball program. We start with the 3 attributes of being a friend and teammate, which are reliability, loyalty, and generosity. And when you think about the process of becoming a friend and teammate, when you're on a team,
yeah,
right, you want somebody to show up, right? If you don't show up at practice, if you're like AB, you know, I mean,
yeah,
you don't show up, you're not reliable.
Exactly.
Well, what happens is when other people are reliable, you got a team that shows up. Everybody shows up. So what happens when you show up? You're together a lot. So once you're together a lot, you start to hang out together, and then somebody sticks up for somebody. You know, you get close. You stand up. You're loyal. You don't let somebody talk bad about your teammate. And then it goes on for a while, and now you're a real good teammate.
Sure.
But what really happens when you become a friend is you go beyond being a teammate. Heart opens up. Maybe your buddy's dad dies, you go to his funeral. He needs a ride home, so you give him a ride home. You show up.
It expands.
It expands. You become generous. Your heart opens up. What mine's yours and yours is mine.
Sure.
So we do that with our team, and we use an example. We use the relationship that Manny Sanguine and Roberto Clemente had. They were best friends. They were the greatest at their position, lifetime. When they had that big team about 10 years ago, they picked the Pirate all-time team. They had Manny Sanguine, catcher, and Roberto Clemente in right field. I did some research on SABRE, which is the Society of American Baseball Research. It showed that, according to those stats, Clemente was the 6th best all-time outfielder. That goes back to 1890s. And Sanguine was the 35th best catcher. That's saying a lot.
Yeah.
And they were on the same team at the same time. But what's amazing is they were not only great ball players all time and won 2 World Series, played in many All-Star games, they were best friends.
Yeah.
In fact, when Roberto died, Manny couldn't go to the funeral. He walked the beaches and diving, went out in a rowboat looking for Roberto's body.
No, that's so sad.
Yeah, it is sad. So what happens in sports is that it's a beautiful game, and there are a lot of lessons in our We21 program, because what we do is the way we teach the principles of being reliable, loyal, and generous. We go back in Roberto's life, and we're animating, we're with art. Christine Braga, who's an artist that works in Cornerstone Rehab Center out in Murraysville, she did some artwork here. These are our core principles.
Nice.
And you see them in color.
Black and white, yeah. Beautiful.
We're doing a lot, and we're having some events that we do. One of the things we do every year is we celebrate Roberto Clementi's birthday. Our program actually wasn't formal initially. We were incorporated as a nonprofit on December 31st, 2017, and there's a real coincidence to that because it's the anniversary of Roberto's passing. And I wanted to have that day because to me, milestones mean everything. So what I did, I had a lawyer, Steve Irwin at Lish Teichman. I said, I'm going to ask that we be incorporated on that day. And he goes, it'll never happen. It's a Sunday. So I says, when we send in the paperwork, can I write a letter and say, please?
Yeah, I want this date.
Yeah, I want this date. And to my amazement, I got an email from the State Department of Incorporation. They actually had somebody go in the office. And I have a picture when they stamped it, and he sent it to me.
With the date.
With the date. And we were
How cool was that?
incorporated on a Sunday because when they read our mission statement and looked at the letter, they said they would do it for us. So
well, it's a great meaning behind that.
Yeah, because it's like passing, it's a transition. Roberto passes on December 31st, and we're born.
Sure.
We 21, and we have a saying that when you do as Roberto would do, he never dies. Because
no, that's a great thing. What got you to even do this?
Well, when I was a kid, I guess it really started when I was 9 years old. I went to Forbes Field as a knot holder, and knot hole games were really a throwback. I'm an old man. This is 1961. A knot holder is somebody that goes to a game free. It started actually, the history of a knot hole was in a minor league team in New Orleans. A knot hole is on a piece of wood. It's on the bat. And a knot holder gets in free. And there used to be a tradition in Major League Baseball. If you were played in Little League or you went to a youth center, they had 5 or 6 dates a year. All you had to do was show up, and they gave you a bag lunch.
Wow.
Somebody would, and then
you're living large.
Ticket.
Yeah.
And what was really cool, we would go to Wilmerding YMCA. I'd show up with my
Wilmerding
uniform. I wasn't that good. I was Italian. I tried to get on the Italian club. Well, but my dad didn't.
You're still Italian.
Yeah, but they put me on the Irish club because I stunk. You know. So here I am, a dark tan kid, and I'm in a green and white uniform with all these kids with freckles. You know. And I hardly ever got in.
You had a nice tan, though.
I got a nice tan. All I know is that I play ball so I can go to knot hole games, and knot hole games are really cool. In fact, a lot of people from Brookline went to knot hole games. In fact, I downloaded the knot hole. There's a Brookline baseball club. I downloaded a lot of pictures. There's a baseball club. They keep records of all the games played in Little League. It's amazing. It's online.
Oh, that's great.
And imagine this. You get kids from all over, all corners of Western Pennsylvania City. And they would have these dates. They were all on a Saturday afternoon because back in the old days, you played day games Saturday afternoon.
Sure.
So imagine this. We're playing the Dodgers and the Pirates. And this is just one example. I had been to knot hole games before. But you go on a bus, you leave Wilmerding, and you go down, you go to Turtle Creek, you pick up more kids. You go down through the Jones and Laughlin, underneath the Westinghouse Bridge. You go to Braddock, you pick up kids. You go to Rankin, you pick up kids.
Wow.
When the bus is full, you go down past.
Pick up a couple more.
Yeah, you pick up a couple more. You go all the back roads. You stop at the churches. So all of a sudden, you're in a rowdy bus, and everybody has bag lunches, and they're throwing bologna sandwiches at each other. Nobody's sitting down, and you can.
How was the bologna?
It was good. It stick on your face. Yeah, it was great if you have a sunburn. You just put the bologna on it.
It helps.
I used to call it Italian jumbo. It had garlic in it. You know?
Oh, nice.
I told the priest once if I ate it on Friday, I didn't have a sink because It was Italian jumbo, and I'm a Roman Catholic. So you could eat that on Fridays. Hey, I'm getting out of hand.
That's all right. I like your stories. You know,
Yeah.
I'm about stories. You're telling me some. That's great.
So what happened is you would go out. I remember going past the steel mills on Second
They
Avenue.
stunk.
Yeah.
I remember those
We'd
days.
have to pull the windows up because the smoke would blow in.
We had to go past all the mills because my grandparents lived in McKeesport. We went from Greentree on the Parkway all the way past all those Second Avenue, J&L or whatever mills were there, and it was just
It
unbelievable.
was unbelievable.
Me and my 3 sisters go, "What's that smell?"
And you go up the hill, you go up 8th Street in Forbes Field, you get up, and it was a neighborhood. So you'd go around and you'd see the crowds, and you'd go down past Shenley Avenue Circle, and they'd let us out behind the Longines clock. There were all these buses.
Wow.
So you'd have all these kids getting out, and somebody would always have a ball. We didn't
Start
have a
throwing.
crowd ball catch. And you'd walk all the way around, and there was this gate behind right field. And it opened up the great gate, and it was rusty and crickety, because I guess they didn't want us mingling with the folks
Regular
that paid.
folks, yeah.
They put the rough-uns underneath. So we came up this dark, musty, the gate would open up, and I remember it smelled like piss.
There, let me tell you, they
and
tell me
mustard
how
and
great.
beer
They
and-
tell me how great Forbes
Guys
Field
were
was.
peeing in there when you walked in.
I remember as a kid being sitting out in the stands, and there's a beam in front of me, and then I remember the smells. It smelled like it was a urinal.
Yeah.
I thought we were right in a urinal, and my dad goes, "What do you think of the seats?" And I was a shy kid then. I just smiled.
You just smiled and say thanks. Thanks, Dad. Feed me good, I'll come
Yeah,
back.
a bag of peanuts, Dad, please.
But what happened is you came up this thing and it's dark and it's cold because the gate just opened
Sure.
up. And this is early in the day. You play the day game. So you're going there for watch batting practice. It's about 11
Sure,
o'clock.
sure.
All of a sudden you get up to the top of the steps and you see blue,
It had to
white,
look great.
the Longines clock. You saw the black and gold uniforms. You saw the Dodgers at one end of the field. And it was like when a movie comes on.
Wow.
You know, when the lights come on in a movie theater, you're transposed. It's surreal. It's like another reality. And all your senses perk up, and all your mates, your friends and teammates are with you. See, friends and teammates? And We 21 becomes born with my Little League team because we run down to the railing, and Roberto's there, and he's warming up. And he would throw the ball back and forth and warm up and throw it off the wall, walk like a peacock, like he was like a feral cat. Like that's a national cat of Puerto Rico. And he would usually at the end, this wasn't my first auto game, but at the end he, like most
Throw a ball up.
he'd throw a ball and somebody keep it. So this time he threw the ball and it came to us. And normally we'd come, you don't know where it went. I'm thinking finally we're gonna get the baseball. So we're all reaching for the ball, and you could see it. It's coming out of the sky. You could see the light standards. So we're all reaching, and it comes right between it. And this little kid grabs it. I think his name was, I think it was Michael Sarnicola. I don't know. But he was really short. We looked at Mike, and we said, "Give me that ball, Mike. You haven't caught anything all year." So Mike goes, "You ain't getting this ball." And he runs to the railing. He runs to Roberto, and he yells, "Play catch!" And of course,
Throw it back.
So Roberto doesn't hear us, but we're all yelling, "Play catch!" And I think he does hear us. And what happens is Roberto, he comes walking over with the ball, and he's doing his thing, and he's, you can read his lips.
Yeah.
We're yelling, "Play catch!" So he throws it back, and Trumedy tries to take it. We say, "No, play catch." We knock the ball. And we played catch. I bet you 9 throws. It seemed like forever
Wow.
when we were a kid.
What a memory.
Yeah, and then he loses track of time. The game's going to start, and the players come out of the dugout and the umpire, and they're standing at second base, and they're amazed at Roberto playing catch with kids. And in that moment, we saw Moman. Man, that was his nickname.
Yeah.
Because when he was a youth, what he'd say, "Un momento, por favor. I don't come home. I'm playing baseball." And that was his nickname. And in a way, he was telling he
Same
was
thing.
reliving his childhood. This is the essence of Roberto Clemente. He loved the game. He excelled at the game because he always played it. And he was being us again. And as I got older, I read all about him. I fell in love with him. And 2 months later, my dad died. So what I did is I keep from crying. I took his baseball card. I put it in my suit. And I remember I was at Elfier's funeral home. That was Lombardo's funeral home in Wimbledon. everything was Italian and woman, you know.
Gotta
And-
be.
Yeah, and it stuck me with all these old Italian women with black dresses. The end of the world was coming. They were crying and wailing.
Yeah.
I'm looking at my dad. So to keep me from crying, I pull out
Card.
Roberto's card, and I remember him playing catch with me. I'm trying not
Wow,
to cry.
yeah.
I remember looking at my shiny shoes, and I swear I saw
His
the
face.
reenactment of us playing catch. So I went back the next day, and I just repeated. I think I bonded with him. They say that when you lose somebody you love, you bond to somebody else.
Sure.
So what happened is I felt a need to connect with Roberto. So like a couple months later, I lied. I said, "Mom, I'm going down the playground." I took my bologna sandwich and bag, you know. And stuff.
I'm glad that bologna's with you.
It's still stuck with me from Cajetta's Market.
Nice.
John Cajetta wrote for the Pittsburgh Press. He was a sports writer.
Nice.
So what happened is that I went there by myself, and Roberto noticed me, and he came to me and he said, "You by yourself?" Yeah. He said, "You see this guy? He said, you should not come by yourself, but if you come, again, you tell him you're here." And I looked around, there were other kids by themselves too. And I realized that they were seeking the same thing,
Yeah.
connecting with Roberto Clemente.
Wow.
Because
And
when
he
he
knew
did
that.
warm-ups, he would always come over to the kids and sign autographs and talk to us. It was amazing. And so I really believe that We 21 was born, and that's what the logo means. The logo represents the time we play catch with Roberto. We're catching Roberto's light,
Yeah.
and then it's being reflected back in the Caribbean Sea.
Oh,
This is
nice.
the Caribbean Sea.
No, thanks for circling around. We're going to have to end the show here.
Okay.
Great story.
Yeah, great stories. How do they get a hold of you again? Because I'm old. You got to repeat yourself.
You go to my website at www.we21.org and look for us. We also have a YouTube channel. It's We21 spelled out for YouTube. But we're having some events coming up. We're going to have an event at Peppers and Ed on November 16th from 2 to 4. Jessica Lee said she's going to appear. We're doing an event next year on
Bob's a
Roberto
friend of
Clemente's birthday.
mine. Bob's a friend of mine.
Who's that?
Bob, who owns it.
Oh, Bob Portigello, yeah.
Yeah,
Bob played
he's a
baseball
great
for
guy.
Rankin. We're renovating the Rankin Field. All the money goes to help the renovations of Rankin Field. They haven't played ball there for many years.
Sure.
So we're putting the proceeds. And next year we're planning a really big event at Cary Furnace. Be a 2-day event. It'll
That
be
Cary Furnace is
yeah. We're going to
something
light
else.
up the furnace with a laser inside. And we're having rat rods, and we're bringing artists. It's going to a big part of We 21 is we have called Love Gumbo for Roberto. It's artists and photographers and art and sentiments and recordings.
Tell them that day again, because we're going to have to end
Okay,
this.
November 21st at Portugallo at Peppers and that, and next year August 15th and 16th at Cary Furnace. We're going to have fundraisers.
Thank you, John.
All right.
Appreciate it. Just stay here. I got to end the show. We honor a kid that didn't make it to his 10th birthday because of brain cancer, DIPG. Stay Joey strong.